Who is Martin Mobarak? Who is this man who is trying to change the art space, charitable donation space? Who is he and why is he important?
Well, who am I? I try to be humble. I have come to this country 34 years ago. Started, working up my way up in business, going out fishing in Alaska. I started one of the first ISP providers, internet service providers, up in Alaska in the early 1990s. And I have moved up in my professional, my engineering my life through entrepreneurship. I have owned different businesses, aviation-related businesses. I have other investments in the cryptocurrency. I was starting to see the crypto world from the very beginning in 2009 with the birth of Bitcoin, and I'm also into mining, real mining in Mexico. So it's just my life has been always self-promoting, self-building, and I hope to continue doing this the rest of my life.
Good. Who is Martin Mobarak, the art collector?
Like I mentioned before, through my school years, I was always involved in plastic arts and art in general. And I went to school. I went to the Public School of Arts, and I have always had my hands on either sculpture or paintings. And I have been collecting art through the years as an investment type of, but also because I love art. I love art, and it's in my heart. And since I was a kid, if people have known me, they will. If you talk to anybody that knows me for some time, they will tell you that I'm a very good creator. So I think it's in my blood from since I was conceived.
Who is Martin Mobarak, the father?
I have 6 children. Oldest 32, youngest 11. I have one of my child. I had a set of twins, and one of them was born with bladder dystrophy, and she's now 30 years old, soon to be 30 years old. And my youngest daughter, Ellie, she has something called Cruzons. It's a congenital change on her DNA that when she was born with it, of course. I have my oldest son, Yusef. My other twin, Natalie, and I have a son named Max. I try to be the best father. I try to give him, the best I can, teach him the ropes of the world. And then, my big motivation of doing this is to help other children and other parents that are in the same situation that I am, but not as lucky as to have the right insurance or even to have the right medical care. Because in this country, it's very difficult, very, very difficult.
What is, in the shortest way possible, what do you want people to get from this project?
To give?
What do you want people to get from this project? Like, what do you want people to understand?
What I want people to understand is that sometimes it's the hardest thing to do is to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. So most people are, you know, lucky enough that they haven't had to endure any hardship, especially with their children. And children is what touches you the most. So I will tell people, try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes that is having a hardship, and then you can understand.
So Martin, we had our event a few weeks ago, and we were working in the space. And when you first told me about the event, I was still learning about Frida, right? It was something that I was learning about in terms of educating myself. The other part that I was learning about was figuring out how this NFT project would help and work with charities. And as someone who's in the space of learning about NFTs constantly, learning about crypto, it was interesting to see how you were putting together an event where you were taking a piece of art that is ephemeral and will be explained in a little bit, and trying to immortalize it and have it live forever in this digital space where everyone, instead of having just one owner, everyone can be a piece of the actual artwork. But before we get into it, I feel like when I was thinking about how this work was going to impact people, it really had me questioning the education portion of the NFT space, and how do we educate people on what an NFT is, how it works, how the crypto space works, and how that by being a part of this project, they're not only participating in innovation, but also charity. So I'd like to start off with a very simple question. What is blockchain? You know, a lot of people hear this word blockchain. I think it's like a buzzword that's going on right now. But in terms of education, how would you explain to somebody who is unfamiliar, completely unaware of what the blockchain is, how would you explain what blockchain is?
What a blockchain is, on how to describe blockchain, is a type of a ledger with total transparency, and more than anything is unhackable. It's secure, meaning no one can alter it. So you can trust it. You can put 100% trust on it. That's the blockchain technology. That's the best way to describe it.
So a ledger, like when I think ledger, I think like when I was a kid, I was very into much to keeping my finances, and I had this little book that had lines on it, and I would write like bought candy or bought ice cream and put $1 denomination in this book that had lines. Is that essentially
just encrypted, so you can modify it? You can't go back and change it.
So it's permanent.
It's permanent.
So it makes it something that can't be changed. Someone just can't put white out across that line.
Correct. So you can modify it. Once it's encrypted, it cannot be changed.
How does that impact the actual ownership of something that's on the blockchain? Like, why would that be important to somebody who's unfamiliar with the blockchain? Why does that encryption and that permanence mean so much?
Well, I mean, I guess what is so important is you can trust the fact that if you own it, you know, no one is going to be able to steal it. So, I mean, we go back to the trust, you know, the trust answer, right? So if I have a token, or if I have an NFT, it won't be altered. So that would be my best answer to that question.
So it can't. So once you have it, everyone knows, and it's apparent to everybody.
It is transparent. It is transparent, and you can trace it back.
You can trace it back. Okay. So it's very similar to like the bank. How the bank right now, I can see my deposits, I can see my credit card transactions when I log into my bank account. It shows me a ledger of all the transactions I made. Is that a simple way to kind of, for people who are uneducated on blockchain, to say like, there's an itemized list of who owns it and everyone knows?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much you can say that. Yes.
Okay. The next question is, why is blockchain technology so important for the NFT? Like, what makes the blockchain so important for the NFT?
Well, an NFT, non-fungible, why is so important? An NFT related to the blockchain technology, an NFT is basically a specialized token. Let's put it that way. It's non-fungible, means it cannot be changed also, and is unique. It's unique to an attachment, like in this case to the painting, the digital painting that we have extracted this call it this image. So the importance is, again, it's always going to go back to the same point that is unique and is unchangeable.
Okay. Martin, what is the key elements of the blockchain and how it relates to the NFTs? I guess particularly the smart contract, and what makes a smart contract so important to the project?
Okay. So the importance of the smart contract is a description of the functionality of the actual token. So you can always go back to that, and it will be all the rules and basically rules and regulations of how the functionality of the token can be applied. In this case, we are going to be giving millions of dollars to charities, and it will be totally transparent, but the smart contract will outline all of these steps on how we do this, right? So it's the guideline, it's the guideline, and it is the call it the articles of incorporation kind of if you want to look at it more with an easy perspective.
So it's the community rules that everyone can see. So instead of having a contract where most contracts I think of off the top of my head are hidden, they're behind a manila folder in someone's drawer, the smart contract exists that the whole entire community knows what's in the contract and these articles of incorporation.
Correct, without the small printing.
Without the small printing. That is confusing to a lot of people.
Exactly.
Okay. You talked about trust. Before we had this interview, we had talked a lot about society, we had talked a lot about the world, and we had talked about trust. How do you think trust really comes into play in terms of these digital projects with the blockchain and NFT?
Well, I mean, in this case, how trust is going to apply into this specific project. So we selected several charities that we feel, and I have a personal desire, an attachment to some of this, and also in this case particular because of what Frida endures to her life. So you can, more than trust, you can go back and verify that what we're saying we're going to do, it's actually happening. So that is the most important thing.
So the verification.
The verification, yes.
That it's not just you're saying you're going to do something. With both the blockchain, the NFT, and the smart contract, the community can actually go in and see that what is being said is being done. Is that correct?
It's factual. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
It is factual.
Let's take a step backwards again. Some people are like, Martin, I like this. This sounds great. This sounds innovative. I'm still confused on this non-fungible token. I'm still confused on this NFT. Can you explain again what an NFT is?
Okay, so what an NFT is, think about it as back when, well, maybe not in your time, but on my times when I was a kid and I collected baseball cards, right? Those baseball cards today are worth lots of money.
Yes.
They were unique and they were limited editions. This is what an NFT is. It's unique. It's, in this case, we have 10,000 NFTs in our collection, and it's very limited. If you put it in perspective, we have other type of tokens. They put out billions of them. Here we're very selective. So, but it is basically a collectible, unmutable. You cannot change it. It will be always the same. It won't deteriorate.
So how would you explain the differences between an NFT and a cryptocurrency for those who wouldn't know?
The difference between an NFT and a cryptocurrency. Right. So mainly to focus on I will focus on the fact that an NFT is non-fungible, so it cannot be changed. It's unique from the very first one and is from the very last one. You can store more data into an NFT. And it can even be used in the future as your passport. It's so unique that it will be used as an identifier. And I can think of 1,000 different uses.
So this wasn't just a regular minting of an NFT. This had a heartfelt cause behind it. And I know that we were trying to focus on the innovation of the charitable space. What do you think some of the current issues and problems are with the charity space right now?
Well, the current issues in the charitable space today, I will say number one is trust, lack of transparency. People like to know how much they're helping, where is their money going. Give.org gives a statistic of 32% of their donors losing faith, losing trust in the organizations that they give, that they support. So I will say that that's the main reasons. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create a new way for people to say, okay, I can see what they're doing. I can actually verify it, and I think verification it's number one.
So this project was not just about any NFT. It was specifically around Frida, and having her as such a big cultural icon to Mexican heritage, and you having Mexican descent. What made Frida really stand out to you? What was it about Frida that spoke to you?
What was it about Frida that drew me to doing this? It was about the fact that I live nearby her house. So as a child, I used to walk by often. I was very influenced by her art throughout my entire childhood. And her life story is unique. It's about perseverance. It's about pain. And I just love her story.
So we have Frida's work, which you've now minted and turned into an NFT. How are we utilizing this new technology to take Frida's work about pain and about growth and using it and utilizing it to help these charities?
How do we utilize the work of Frida? By minting the mint of this NFT, 10,000 of them. Once all of them sold, millions of dollars will go into these charities, and they will perpetually keep giving to these charities. And I cannot think of a better way to give to any charity in the world through this technology that is 100% clear and transparent.
So you picked particular charities to be involved with this project with Frida. Why did you pick these charities?
Why did I pick these charities? Well, I have a personal attachment or personal desire to help kids with bladder extrophy and Crouzons, as well as autism, because I'm close to it, because I have it at home. So I mean, that's in my heart. And Frida was about pain, and she was a woman subject to abuse, domestic abuse, domestic violence. So I think anything that can be done to help women in the same position that she encountered, it's the best way to explain it. Why? We are open to other charities, obviously, and we will continue to grow the number of charities that we actually have chosen.
So a lot of people are going to say this was fake, that it wasn't real. How do we know for sure that it was real?
How do we know this piece was real? I happen to know a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, who knew one of the top authenticator in Mexico, and very well versed in Frida's work. So we hired him. He came to Florida. He authenticated the piece, verified, his origins. Then we gave it to a third party, a Guardian executive company that specializes in holding assets under security. They had it for about 3 days, and then they brought it up at the party in front of about 250 people. They delivered it to me, and then we proceed to the burning.
When it came to the minting and immortalizing of this work, Fantasmones Sinestros, what was the process that went into making sure you captured with all the detail possible this piece of art for the digital space? How do we capture Fantasmones Sinestros?
So, how do we capture Fantasmones Sinestros for the digital space? Well, that was done by a professional company. They used the highest resolution camera available today. They took a very detailed frame, picture frame, and both sides, as we know, this is a double-sided painting, and we put a specific detail on the bottom edge of the painting that was unique because she ripped it off her diary. So I think we have, the best that today the technology allows us to have created.
The question that many of the guests had, as well as I'm sure people who will be finding out about this in the future, why did we burn it?
So why did we burn it? Well, we burn it because if you don't scream, no one listens to it. And we had to be very loud to accomplish what we are focusing this NFT to be, which is to give to these charities. And we will continue to give, but it was necessary to to make a sacrifice, a small sacrifice, for the thousands of children that are going to be rewarded with this small sacrifice. And if she was alive today and I would have asked her, she would have 100% say burn everything. If I can help the children, if I can help, because she was a giver and she was a true giver.
Great. What do you want to say to the people that might criticize this decision, that may not be able to understand how this innovation is going to change the landscape, not only of art, but of charity? What would you like to say to those who might criticize?
So, to those who may criticize me, well, I love Frida, and it was hard for me to do this, and I can see how people will see it negatively, but the reward is going to be to all of these children that might get a smile in their faces, to their parents that they have someone extending a hand, to a helping hand. So, I mean, someone can show me a better way. I just don't know it, but I thought this would be probably impactful, and as I said before, I know that that a lot of everybody in Mexico loves Frida. We all love Frida, but more people are going to be getting a gift from her, from this specific project. Frida.nft.org.
You're changing, you're innovating, you're pioneering. What's next for the Frida.nft.org project?
What's next for the Frida.nft.org? Lots of new events. We're going to continue to grow this organization, and we are going to be giving more and more. Everyone should try to be part of this unique collection of NFTs. It's a club. It's a group of people trying to make a difference with this through this technology, and that's why we need to make a we need to understand that technology allows us to do great things with this, and the technology is evolving, and as the technology evolves, we will adapt to these new changes.
Now, I know you have some more incredible paintings you want to add to the metaverse. Is that what we can have to look forward to future events?
I'm not going to disclose how these new events, they're all going to be awesome events. And I think that people should buy this NFT and become part of it so they can be invited to these specific events. And I guarantee that people will be impacted, but in a very good way.
Who came to this event? I know as the MC of the event, there was 250 people there, excited to see what was going to happen. Some of them didn't know what was going to happen, but who was at the event, and why were they important to be there?
So who was at the event? Well, number one, friends and family. Representatives of the charities, not all of them, but a few of them came. We had a short notice, so Guardian Security, who guarded the painting for a few days, and the authenticator of this painting, the originality of this painting, he was there, and guests that decided to come based on an invitation that was extended to them through different sources.